When cinema pushes the heart, why La Grazia moved me to tears. I recently had the privilege of seeing La Grazia at the Denver Film Festival, following its world premiere at the Venice International Film Festival on August 27th, 2025. I'd cried in movies before, but this one undid me. By the end, I was openly weeping. Few films have ever moved me this deeply. I want to share why, not to summarize the story, but to touch on the questions it raises about mercy, power, doubt, legacy, and love, and to invite you to see it when it's released. La Grazia will stay with you long after the lights come up, I can assure you. Director Sorrentino, best known for his movies The Great Beauty and The Young Pope, gives us another masterful meditation, this time on the intersection of politics and morality. The film follows Italy's fictional president, Mariano de Santis, played with quiet gravitas by Tony Servillo. During the final weeks of his term, he faces two monumental decisions: whether to sign a law legalizing euthanasia and whether to grant clemency, la grazia, to two convicted murderers. But this isn't a political thriller. It's a slow, reflective portrait of a man weighed down by responsibility and haunted by the limits of his own convictions. It's about what it means to be human when everyone expects you to be more than that. We live in a world that rewards certainty, yet Sorrentino's film insists that doubt is not weakness. It's a form of wisdom. The president agonizes over what is right, aware that every choice carries moral consequences. His faith offers guidance, but not answers. That struggle between the head and heart, law and soul, is the pulse of the movie. And it speaks to all of us. Maybe the most courageous act is to admit that we don't know for sure. The title, La Grazia, carries multiple meanings: grace, mercy, pardon, favor. The president must decide whether to grant mercy to others, while also learning to show it to himself. We see in him a man who can shape laws for a nation, but cannot easily forgive his own mistakes. The film asks, what does grace look like in a world built on judgment? What is the difference between justice and compassion? These are enormous questions, yet Sorrentino explores them in whispers, in glances, pauses, and silences that say more than speeches ever could. While the setting is the Italian presidency, the deeper story is about the loneliness of power. Sorrentino paints the machinery of government as grand and sterile. Vast rooms, echoing halls, long tables that separate more than they connect. The president moves through the architecture of authority like a ghost, aware that his tenure, perhaps his relevance, are ending. For anyone who has led, built, or held responsibility, only to feel it slipping away, these scenes hit hard. The film quietly reminds us, authority without humanity is hollow. Much of the film feels like a man walking through his own memories. We sense his grief over his late wife, his regrets, his longing for what might have been. The clock is running out, not just on his presidency, but on the life he once imagined. As I watched, I thought about the endings in all of our lives, the jobs, the relationships, the identities we've outgrown. Sorrentino captures that ache, the beauty and sorrow of realizing that even the most powerful among us cannot pause time. What struck me most deeply, though, were the moments between the president and his daughter and son. Beneath all the politics and philosophy lies a simple, painful truth. He knows how to rule a country, but not how to reach his children. His daughter challenges him. She sees his armor, his moral authority, his restraint, and tries to pierce it with honesty and love. His son lingers on the periphery, wanting his father's approval, but unsure on how to earn it. These moments are small but searing. A dinner conversation that falters, a visit that feels like an apology unspoken. Through them, we see how difficult it can be for a parent, especially one defined by duty, to show vulnerability. The film asks a question that stayed with me long after I left the theater. What legacy do we really leave? Is it the laws we pass, the accomplishments we achieve, or the love we give, withheld or freely offered, to the people closest to us? That's when I broke down. Not for the country on screen, but for the family, for every parent and child still trying to find each other, for all the conversations we wish we'd had, for the grace that exists in simply being seen and forgiven. So why did this film hit me so hard? Grazia isn't only about mercy and politics. It's about love, loss, and the courage to doubt. It reminded me that the truest grace often comes not from institutions or laws, but from human connection. I cried because I saw myself, and maybe all of us, in that father, someone who has tried to do the right thing, yet realizes too late that the most important work is at home, in the hearts of those who love us. The film doesn't give us answers. It gives us space. Space to reflect, to feel, to forgive. That, to me, is its lasting gift. I left the theater thinking about the word grace, how rare it is, how necessary it feels. Grace to doubt, grace to forgive, grace to love imperfectly, and grace finally to let go. That's what Grazia is really about. And that's why I cried.
Be sure to subscribe to Meandering Musings wherever you get your favorite podcasts. For more about Neil Peterson and to read more Meandering Musings and travel essays, visit meanderingmusings.net. Tell your friends about Meandering Musings and leave us a review on Apple Podcasts.